So as a project manager working from home, this can present unique challenges when it comes to maintaining productivity. However, with the right strategies in mind and the right mindset, you can still achieve high levels of productivity and keep your projects on the right track. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to give you on this video 5 productivity tips that can help you stay focused and achieve your goals when it comes to working from home. If you find these useful, do drop me a like and subscribe, and let me know any other topics relating to project management, productivity, personal finance, or anything else that you feel you'd like me to cover. What I'm also going to include is the books that I found really useful when it comes to utilizing the tips and why they've helped me in my situation as a full-time project manager, and hopefully how they can help you in your situation as well. Tip number 5, you need to set clear goals and priorities. So when you're working from home, it can be easy to get distracted by household tasks or personal matters. Now, it's important to stay on track. The best way that I do this is at the beginning of the day, I block some time out in order to plan out what I'm going to be doing, i.e. for that day, what I'm going to be doing for that week, even for the following week as well. And most importantly, at the most basic level, you need to start each day by setting clear goals and priorities for what you're going to accomplish. I cannot tell you how many times that I've gone off track when I didn't have a clear list of what I'm going to achieve for that day and how I'm prioritizing that, what your priorities are. For example, a technique that I tend to use a lot is called MOSCO, so must have, should have, could have, and won't have. So essentially your must haves are your most important things that you need to get done and are going to have a high impact once resolved, both on you and for your clients. Should haves are also important, but not as important as the must haves. The could haves also important, but not as important as the should haves. The won't have are the ones that you can put aside and perhaps postpone up until a later stage. Now, a really good book when it comes to this as well, which I've found really helpful, is a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Essentially, he provides a framework for setting goals and priorities based on your values and long-term vision. So some really good tips in there, which I've found and applied into my daily life as well. So it's a book that may be worth checking out. Tip number 4 is creating a dedicated workspace. So essentially what that involves is having somewhere within your home. For example, that could be within a particular room. If you don't have a particularly big house, you could set some kind of division where, for example, I'm in my bedroom right now, I've bed on the other side and you can't see it, but I've got this particular space where I know that this is dedicated towards work. But you could do the same thing as well. If you have got an office, obviously even better. And the benefits of doing this is when you're in different areas of the house, your mentality is different. For example, if you're in the living room, my mentality tends to be a bit more relaxed, chilled. If I'm in the kitchen, a bit more maybe energetic, listening to music and things like that, but not necessarily in that work mindset or focus. Whereas if I'm here, sat down, looking at my computers as I am and working, I'm in that work mind zone. And so that's the benefit of having a dedicated workspace. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be anything outrageous. As long as you've got somewhere where you work, where you know that if I'm sat here, I'm working, I'm focused. Just a comfortable chair and desk, as basic as you can get, as long as it's good for your back, and all the equipment and supplies that you need to do your job as well. Having a decent amount of light as well does tend to help. A really good book that can help when it comes to this is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, and the book by Marie Kondo. Not fully read the book yet, but I have found some really useful tips that have helped me within my role within that book. So it looks at tips at decluttering and organizing your home, for example, which can help you create a more functional and efficient workspace. So really helpful book, both on and off the pitch, both on work and off work as well. So that's another really good one that may be worth checking out. Tip number 3 is to use time management techniques. What I mean by that, for example, good example for that is, as I'm recording this video, I've got a timer that I'm looking at on the side. I've got a script that I'm reading as well to make sure that I don't go off track, and I'm always keeping in mind how much time I'm dedicating to this video. What I've done is I have blocked 8 minutes, and I've started an 8-minute timer as I started this video to make sure that I'm staying on track and I'm staying on the content which I've written out on my script as well. So a good example of managing your time, instead of potentially, I cannot tell you how many times when I've written a script and I've gone completely off track and I've ended up taking 15 to 20 minutes to record that video, which can be a pain to edit when you've got all that footage. Whereas if I've got this timer now and it's only 8 minutes of footage, then it's not a pain to edit. It's only a little bit of footage where I can just extract the main points, put out the edit, and ultimately put out the video. Time management is essential, obviously, for productivity, especially if you are working from home, where that in itself can be a challenge. A really good technique to use, which has helped me out a lot, is called the Pomodoro technique, which is essentially a technique where you block out certain amounts of time in order to focus on particular tasks. For example, you could use 25 minutes to focus on one particular task, and you could set your day based on those 25-minute blocks in order to achieve your specific goals for that particular task. I work on multiple projects personally, so this helps me out massively in order to focus on each individual client and be able to work on them while I'm just focused on them and I'm not focused on any other project. There's a book called Eat the Frog by an author named Brian Tracy. Essentially, this book provides you practical tips for overcoming procrastination and managing your time more effectively. So some really useful tips here and there. Again, another another one that I'm still going through, but definitely worth a try if you're someone that's looking to get better at managing your time and achieving a lot within a small amount of time. Tip number 2 is to take breaks and stay active. Obviously, you're sitting at your desk all day pretty much, and this can be detrimental to your health and obviously your productivity. So you want to try and be getting up as much as possible. Take little breaks where you can, stay active. Obviously, you want to try and stay focused and energized throughout the day. Part of that will be taking breaks and just recharging and refreshing yourself anytime when you have got a little, 1 5-minute break or whatever. And what I tend to do is walk outside. I'm sat next to a window, but once I walk outside, look at the sky, get that natural light in my eyes, that tends to stimulate the brain and wake me up a little bit more. Something that scientists say works apparently, because it lets the brain know that you're awake, therefore you need to be focused and you need to be essentially refreshed and ready to go. So something that I've again found really, really useful. Obviously it goes without saying again, little breaks here and there, standing up, stretching, walking, exercising if you're that type of person. The book for that is called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Definitely worth checking out. Some friends of mine have read it. I've not really delved too much into it, but it's a book essentially, from what I've heard, morning routines, exercise, medication, self-improvement and stuff like that. So if you have read the book, let me know in the comments how you found it. Definitely one, from what I've heard, that's worth looking at. Tip number 1 is staying connected with your team. So when working from home, obviously it's important to stay connected with your team to ensure everyone is on the same page, projects are progressing as planned. So what you want to do is just have those regular little check-ins with your team members and use video. We use Slack, we use emails. In your organization, you might have different methods that you use. Quite often there's a lot that can be implied in between, and that can often lead to conflicts both internally with your colleagues and with clients as well. And you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. So those little check-ins do help. Even check-ins that are not work related, just finding out how people are doing and just making sure everyone is okay, and everything is, as transparent work-wise as possible, and everyone is happy with how things are going. A book that you might want to check out, and I cannot recommend this enough, it's a book called Crucial Conversations by Kerry Patterson. Provides techniques for having difficult conversations essentially and resolving conflicts in a constructive and productive way. So linking back to, a lot can remain unsaid, a lot can be implied and assumed if you don't communicate regularly with your colleagues, and that can lead conflicts. So there are really good techniques and really good ways to try and get around and avoid those type of situations. In summary, obviously working from home can be challenging, but if you put the right strategies in mind and have the right mindset, you can achieve a lot and be a lot more productive. It's a work in progress. It's not a destination. You can't really get there and say you're done. Even me, I'm continuously learning on a daily basis, striving to get better. But I hope this video has helped you get slightly closer to those goals as well. Do drop me a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Do also check out the next video that's on the screen right now if you have enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video.